You're standing in a bank office that smells like new carpet and free coffee, and the man across the desk just slid a piece of paper toward you that says, your net worth is $1,042,000. And your first instinct isn't joy, it's fear. Your eyes dart to the door. Some ancient part of your brain is convinced that a mistake has been made, that someone is about to walk in and take it all back, that people like you don't get to have this number attached to their name. You grip the arm of the chair a little too hard, and the banker, this polished guy with a watch that costs more than your first car, he smiles and calls you Sir. Ei tardi. Sanchish. Nobody in your family has ever been called Sir inside a room like this. Let me take you back, because the number on that paper isn't the story. The story is everything that had to break for you to get here. You grew up counting change. Real change. Actual coins on the kitchen table, your mother's fingers pushing quarters into little stacks to see if there was enough for the electric bill. You remember the specific sound of a bill collector's voice through the phone? The way your dad would go quiet and hand it to your mum because he couldn't take it anymore. You learned early that money was a thing that arrived and vanished in the same breath. A paycheck was a wave that hit the shore and pulled back out before you could hold any of it. Nobody sat you down and explained interest or ownership or assets. Those words weren't in the house. The only financial rule you inherited was survival. Get paid Friday, pray it lasts till the next one. And here's the thing, nobody tells you about growing up broke. It's not just that you don't have money, it's that you don't have the map. The rich kid down the street, his dad explained at 14, how a mortgage builds equity while you're just living in the house. His uncle told him what a Roth IRA was over Thanksgiving dinner. That information is the real inheritance, and it gets passed down at the dinner table for free, generation after generation. You were handed a game with no rulebook and told to compete against people who'd been studying the rules since birth. That's the part that isn't fair. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Level 1. You get your first real job, and the number on the check feels enormous. $2,000 a month. You've never had $2,000 at once in your life, and you do exactly what your family taught you. You spend it. Not on anything crazy. A better phone. Dinner's out. A car with a payment that feels like proof you made it. This is the trap, and almost everyone from where you're from falls in it, because when you've been starving your whole life, the first taste of abundance makes you want to feel rich instead of become rich. Those are two completely different things, and the system is designed so you never learn the difference. Broke people buy things that look expensive. Wealthy people buy things that make money while they sleep. You didn't know that yet. You hit 30 and you have nothing. Same as your parents. And one night, you're staring at your bank balance, which says $211, and something in you just snaps. Not dramatically, quietly. You realize that if you keep doing exactly what you were taught, you will end up exactly where they ended up, and so will your kids, and it will go on forever. Poverty isn't a phase in your family. It's a loop, and you are standing on the one spot in the whole timeline where the loop could be broken. So you start doing the thing that feels almost illegal for someone like you. You start keeping money. You open an investment account, and your hands are actually shaking as you type in your bank details because there's a voice in your head screaming that this is how you get scammed. This is how people like you lose the little they have. But you do it anyway. You put in $50. Then you learn what an index fund is from a free video, and you feel like you've stolen a state secret. Because that's what it is. This information was always here. It was just never handed to you. Level 2, you get weird. You keep driving the old car while your co-workers upgrade. You bring lunch, you get a raise, and instead of inflating your life, you invest the difference, and people start to notice. And this is where it gets lonely, because the pull backward doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the people who love you. Your cousin asks why you're being cheap. Your friend says you think you're better than everyone now. There's a name for this, and nobody warns you. Crab mentality. When one crab tries to climb out of the bucket, the others pull it back down. Not out of malice, out of the terror of being left behind. And you start to understand that breaking generational poverty isn't just a money problem. It's a belonging problem. Every dollar you save is a small act of separation from the only tribe you've ever known. And you feel that separation in your body. There's a specific loneliness in being the first. Nobody in your family can tell you if you're doing it right. When the market drops 30% and your account bleeds $12,000 in a week, there is no wise uncle to call. No father who's seen this before and can say, hold the line. You are the pioneer, which is a beautiful word for someone walking through the dark with no lantern, guessing. And the fear from childhood comes roaring back. That voice that says, people like you don't get to keep nice things. Sell now before they take it all. But you've learned something the old you didn't know. Panic is expensive, so you do nothing. You let it ride. And 6 months later, it's not just back, it's higher. That was the moment you stopped playing the game by their rules and started playing it by the real ones. Level 3. The money starts doing something eerie. It starts making money without you. Your dividends buy shares that pay more dividends. The old car finally dies and you pay cash for a better used one and feel nothing but calm. You buy a small place and for the first time in your bloodline, the roof over your head is an asset with your name on the deed instead of a landlord's number to dread every first of the month. You get a promotion, then another, but the salary isn't even the engine anymore. The engine is the machine you built in the quiet, the one that hums along whether you show up or not. This is the secret the rich kid learned at 14 and you learned at 34. You don't get wealthy by earning more. You get wealthy by owning things that earn for you. And your family starts to shift, slowly. Your mother, who once stacked quarters for the electric bill, calls you to ask what an index fund is, and your throat tightens because you understand what that question really means. The map is finally moving up the family tree instead of dying with the generation before. You sit your younger cousin down, the one who called you cheap, and you explain compound interest with a napkin and a pen, and you watch the exact moment it clicks behind his eyes. You just handed him at 19 what nobody handed you until it was almost too late. That's the inheritance rewriting itself in real time. There's a night around 40 when it happens. You're paying your parents' mortgage off, the whole thing, in one transfer. Your father stands in the kitchen holding the paper that says the house is finally, fully theirs. And he doesn't say anything for a long time. This is a man who used to hand the phone to your mother because he couldn't face the bill collector. And now his hands are shaking. And you realize the fear you felt in that bank office, that ancient certainty that people like you don't get to have this. He's felt it every single day of his life. You just broke it, not only for you, for him, for everyone downstream of this moment forever. So now you understand why joy wasn't your first instinct in that bank office. Because getting rich when you come from nothing isn't a fairy tale where the money arrives and the fear leaves. The money arrives and the fear stays. Because the fear was never really about money. It was about worth. It was a whole family whispering across generations that people like us don't belong in rooms like this. And every dollar you saved, every lonely no you said, every time you held the line while the world screamed, sell, you were arguing with that whisper. And you were winning. You look up at the banker with his expensive watch and his practiced smile, and he says, sir, again. And this time you don't flinch. You don't look at the door. Nobody is coming to take it back because nothing was given. You built this out of $50 and terror and a rule book you had to steal from strangers on the internet. $1,042,000. But that number isn't the thing you're proud of. The thing you're proud of is that the loop is broken. Your kids will learn about ownership at the dinner table. They'll hear the word asset before they can spell it. They will never know the specific sound of coins being counted for the electric bill. And they'll never understand why their eyes don't dart to the door in rooms like this. That's the real inheritance. You fold the paper, slide it into your pocket, and walk out into the light. You are the first. And because of you, you will not be the last.